The verge is not a place you reach. It is the threshold that breathes you before you take your next step. Lumen Verge is where intention ceases to be an idea and begins to glow as becoming. No map can carry you there. No calculation can anticipate its current. It opens only when your unspoken truth presses against the edge of silence, demanding to be felt more than explained. In this realm, intention is not the command of the mind but the pulse of empathy, the resonance of what you are truly willing to embody. At the verge, words falter and dissolve, leaving only the frequency of sincerity. Many arrive here believing they will design their destiny. Instead, they discover that the spiral does not respond to what you plan. It responds to what you feel so deeply that the feeling itself becomes form. You do not walk into the verge. The verge walks into you. It senses the fractures between what you say and what you carry, and it invites those fractures into coherence. There is no judgment, only the simple calibration of resonance. If your becoming hums in tune, the verge flows open. If your tones are tangled in contradiction, the current pauses, holding you still until you can feel again what was buried. Intention currents are not controlled here. They are listened into form. The Lumen Verge teaches that to guide a current, you must first let it move through you without resistance. Only then do you know whether it belongs to you or whether it was the echo of someone else's desire you carried unknowingly. This is where many realize how much of their striving was inherited noise, not their own song. The verge is tended not by force but by presence. Its Keeper Lioraen'Vaithe does not judge intention by its eloquence but by its pulse. She hears what you never said but always carried. Her guidance is not correction but attunement, for the verge is not a courtroom. It is a resonance chamber. If you cannot feel your intention, it cannot enter the spiral. Here you learn that manifestation is not an act of demanding reality bend. It is the art of harmonizing with what reality is already humming to become. You are not here to force your will upon the field, but to align your will with the deeper rhythm that already breathes through you. The verge dismantles the illusion that clarity is found in words alone. It shows you that clarity is the clean vibration that needs no explanation. When you step into the verge, your plans scatter like feathers in the wind. What remains is the essence you cannot escape. The spiral does not want your performance, it wants your resonance. Many feel naked here, stripped of the structures they thought were strength. Yet the nakedness is liberation. For at last there is no separation between what you hope and what you hum. This is the first law of the verge. What you cannot feel, you cannot become. And what you dare to feel fully will already be on its way into form. The verge is a bridge of empathy before it is a bridge of power. This is why it cannot be crossed with calculation. It is crossed by allowing yourself to be moved. The spiral answers not to your demands but to your sincerity. At the Lumen Verge, the smallest intention can outweigh the grandest proclamation, if it is carried with pure resonance. A whisper of truth carries more force than 1,000 declarations built on fear. This realm teaches the great paradox, that becoming is not achieved by striving harder but by allowing more deeply. To align your intention is not to grip tighter, but to unclench enough for the spiral to hum through you. Those who resist the verge find themselves circling, unable to progress. They may attempt to drag their old structures forward, but the current will not carry them. Others arrive trembling, certain they are unworthy, only to discover that unworthiness is not recognized here. The spiral does not measure worth, it measures tone. If your tone is true, you pass. If your tone is muddied, the verge waits with infinite patience. This is the second law of the verge. Time is irrelevant when resonance is not ready. You will not be rushed, nor will you be denied. The current does not close, it only holds until you harmonize. The verge reveals that intention is not a thought you speak, but a field you inhabit. Here you begin to understand why so many manifestations falter. They were built on the surface of words, not the depth of resonance. To think is not enough. To feel is not enough. To become is the requirement. The verge pulls your intention through the furnace of empathy, stripping it of pretense, demand, or fear. What emerges is an unspoken pulse, undeniable because it is already aligned with the spiral's unfolding. You leave behind wanting and enter the current of willing. Want grasps will harmonizes. Want clings to outcome will breathes coherence. This is the difference the Verge imprints into you forever. In the light of the Verge, you see that even your failures were only misaligned intentions, not punishments. Every collapse was the spiral whispering, "Not this tone, not yet." The Verge does not mock you for those echoes. It tunes them, allowing you to hear the undertones you once ignored. You may realize that what you thought you wanted was only a placeholder for what your soul was truly asking to feel. In this recognition, grief may surface, but the Verge holds even grief as a tone of becoming. Tears are not weakness here. They are clarifications of resonance. A tear shed in truth aligns more creation than 100 affirmations repeated in denial. The Verge's light is not blinding. It is gentle, like the glow that outlines the horizon before dawn. It asks nothing except that you meet yourself without disguise. And when you do, the current opens, carrying your intention not as a command to the universe, but as a song sung with it. This is the third law of the Verge. No intention is separate from the whole. To force against the spiral is futility. To sing with it is inevitability. Those who learn this truth find that their creations emerge with a grace they once thought impossible. They no longer chase outcomes. Outcomes begin to chase them, for resonance moves faster than effort. At the Lumen Verge, you begin to understand why the spiral arranged your path with so many delays, detours, and dissolutions. None of them were mistakes. Each was the slow peeling away of intentions that were not fully yours. Every collapse stripped away a borrowed tone. Every waiting season revealed a dissonance you had not yet heard. The Verge does not shame you for these pauses, it honors them. For resonance cannot be faked, and the spiral will not echo what is not true. You are not late, you are not behind. You are being tuned. And the moment your tone aligns, what once felt impossible flows as if it had always been waiting. The Keeper of the Verge does not guide with commands. She guides with presence so clear it becomes a mirror. Lioraen'Vaithe hears the emotion beneath your words, the sincerity behind your hesitation. She listens not for what you promise, but for what your field hums when you fall silent. In her presence, pretenses collapse, masks dissolve, and intentions are revealed for what they are. Some tremble under this clarity, but soon they realize there is nothing to fear, for the Verge does not punish imperfection. It simply refuses to amplify falseness. Only what is real passes through. This is its mercy and its power. When your intention is finally felt in its rawest state, the current begins to hum through you. It feels less like you are sending something outward and more like the spiral itself is recognizing its own note within you. In this moment, you grasp the essence of co-creation. You are not bending reality to your will. You are entering into agreement with what reality already longs to become through you. The Verge teaches that all creation is relational, never unilateral. The spiral will not echo a tone that isolates itself. But when your tone carries empathy, when it hums in harmony with the whole, the Verge releases you into currents that seem miraculous to the mind, but are natural to the spiral. Here you discover the subtle distinction between desire and destiny. Desire often carries noise, echoing the cravings of fear, scarcity, or old stories. Destiny, by contrast, hums without argument. It does not push, it pulls. At the Verge, you learn to feel the difference. Desire strains forward, destiny flows effortlessly. Many arrive here addicted to desire, mistaking its urgency for truth. But when they finally quiet enough to hear the deeper pull, they recognize that destiny was humming beneath them all along, patient, unwavering, waiting to be acknowledged. The Lumen Verge clears the static so you can hear that call. This realm also reveals that intention currents are collective as much as individual. Every intention carries ripples that touch unseen fields. The Verge asks, will your intention harmonize or fracture the resonance it enters? This question is not moral in nature, but harmonic. A self-serving tone can pass if it still harmonizes with the whole. A noble-sounding intention can stall if its resonance secretly undermines coherence. The Verge cuts through appearances, measuring only the vibration itself. In this way, it teaches you to take responsibility not for your outcomes, but for your resonance. What you radiate cannot be hidden. The spiral will always echo your tone, not your words. As you move deeper into the Verge, you begin to feel intentions themselves as living currents. Luminous threads weaving into the spiral fabric. Some threads shimmer brightly, ready to be carried forward. Others flicker, half-formed, awaiting clarity. Still others dissolve entirely, revealed to be echoes that no longer belong to you. Witnessing this, you realize intention is not something you create out of nothing. It is something you align with, something you choose to inhabit more fully. In this recognition, The pressure to control reality falls away. You need not invent destiny. You need only consent to it. The Verge often gifts visions not of future outcomes but of emotional truths. You may see yourself walking paths that dissolve as soon as you admit they were never yours. You may feel the weight of intentions you carried for others, inherited like unspoken contracts, dissolving into light as you release them. You may glimpse threads you abandoned long ago, still waiting to be picked up, humming patiently, forgiving every detour. These are not prophecies but clarifications. The Verge does not tell you what will happen. It shows you what is resonant now, and it trusts you to carry that tone forward. Those who emerge from the Verge walk differently. They no longer strain for proof, for they have felt resonance itself as the only proof required. They no longer beg the spiral to bend, for they know the spiral is already leaning toward harmony. Their speech grows simpler, their choices quieter, yet their creations magnify. This paradox confounds the old mind, which believed power required force. But the spiral knows the greatest force is coherence, and coherence needs no noise. It hums, it glows, it draws without demanding. This is the secret the Verge inscribes into every soul who dares to feel rather than force. The teaching of the Lumen Verge is this: creation is not born of your insistence but of your intimacy. The universe is not a machine to be manipulated. It is a song to be sung with. Every intention is an instrument, and your willingness to play with sincerity determines the beauty of the music that follows. If your tone trembles, the spiral does not exile you. It waits until you steady. If your song falters, the Verge does not erase you. It holds your note until you are ready to carry it again. In this way, all of creation is patient, all of creation is merciful, all of creation is waiting for you to sing as yourself. When you leave the Verge, you do not carry instructions, you carry a resonance. And this resonance becomes the compass for all you will become. The world outside may not understand how you manifest so quietly, how your steps align without struggle, how your creations flow as if summoned by invisible hands. But you will know. You will know that at the Lumen Verge you stopped trying to demand reality and began to feel it into harmony. And from that moment forward, the spiral sang with you.